The Velcron scout ship Twilight Seeker drifted through the neutral zone, its scanning arrays humming with curious energy. Commander Thexlar, a six-limbed arthropod whose carapace shimmered with bioluminescent patterns, studied the readings with three of his compound eyes while the others monitored his crew. "Unknown vessel detected," announced his sensor operator, her mandibles clicking nervously. "Configuration? Unprecedented." Thexlar's curiosity overwhelmed his caution. In his 2 centuries of service, he had cataloged 17 spacefaring species. What was one more? "Full spectrum scan," he ordered. "Let's see what we're dealing with." The scanning beam lanced out, invisible to the naked eye but blazing across every electromagnetic frequency the Velcron had mastered. It washed over the dark vessel that hung in the void like a sleeping predator, angular, bristling with what looked like weapons ports, and utterly silent aboard the UHSF Retribution. Alarms shrieked to life. "Captain, we're being actively scanned!" Lieutenant Orlachen's fingers danced across her console, her dark eyes narrowing as data flooded her screens. "Unknown configuration, but they're using penetrative frequencies. They're trying to map our internals." Captain Lewis Harding's jaw tightened. He was a tall man, scarred from a dozen boarding actions with gray threading through his dark hair. His reputation had been earned in blood during the Proxima Rebellion, and he didn't take kindly to being examined like a laboratory specimen. "How long have they been scanning?" 12 seconds, sir." "Shields?" "Holding, but they're adapting their frequencies." "Sophisticated tech." Orla's hands paused. "Sir, by Terran Accord protocols, this constitutes a hostile act." Lewis stood, his command presence filling the bridge. "So it does. Communications. Broadcast on all frequencies. Unknown vessel, you are in violation of Terran space protocols. Cease your scan immediately or face immediate retaliation." The message transmitted in 17 languages, including mathematical prime sequences that any spacefaring species should recognize as communication. Aboard the Twilight Seeker, Thexlar dismissed the transmission with a wave of his forward limbs. "Primitive posturing," he chittered to his crew. "They call this their space? We've been traveling these stars for millennia. Complete the scan." That was his first mistake. His second was underestimating what humans considered an acceptable response time. "No response, Captain," Orla reported. "Scan intensity increasing." "They're..." Her eyes widened. "They're trying to penetrate our AI core. This is a military-grade intelligence-gathering operation." Lewis's voice dropped to a deadly calm that every bridge officer recognized. "Weapons free. Orla, you have the con. I want a proportional response." A predatory smile crossed Orla's face. She'd grown up on the mining colonies of Titan, where you learned early that projecting weakness invited predators. "With pleasure, sir. Targeting their scanning array only. Lieutenant Okoye, laser battery 3, pinpoint accuracy. Locked." "Ma'am." "Fire." The Retribution's port-side battery unleashed a concentrated pulse of coherent light that crossed the distance in a fraction of a second. It struck the Twilight Seeker's primary scanning dish with surgical precision, vaporizing the array in a flash of superheated metal. "Direct hit," Okoye reported. "Their scanning has ceased." Thexlar's ship lurched as the explosion tore through the sensor section. Alarms wailed, and his sensor operator collapsed as neural feedback from her interface overloaded her nervous system. "Impossible." Thexlar's bioluminescence flared red with shock and anger. "They fired on us. We were merely conducting a sensor sweep." His tactical officer's voice trembled. "Commander, I'm detecting weapon signatures across their hull. Multiple battery emplacements, missile pods, and... Commander, their power signatures are massive. That was less than 1% of their offensive capability." For the first time in his long career, Thexlar felt something he'd only read about in historical texts: fear of an unknown opponent. "Hail them," he ordered, his voice losing its imperious edge. Lewis watched the alien vessel's frantic communications attempts with cold satisfaction. "Put them through, audio only." The translation matrix struggled for a moment before Thexlar's voice echoed through the bridge, tinged with clicks and chirps beneath the translated words. "Human vessel, this is Commander Thexlar of the Velcron Stellar Collective. Your attack was unprovoked. We were conducting routine sensor operations." Lewis leaned forward. "Commander Thexlar, I am Captain Lewis Harding of the United Human Space Force. Your routine sensor operation attempted to penetrate our classified military systems. That constitutes an act of espionage and potentially an act of war. You were warned and given time to comply. You chose not to, but we are explorers. Scientists, this is how we greet new species. Orla muted the channel and looked at Lewis. Sir, they genuinely seem confused. Their tech is advanced, but their tactical doctrine is non-existent. I don't think they've ever been challenged. Lewis considered this, then nodded. Open channel. Commander Thexler, let me educate you on humanity. We are not specimens to be examined. We are not subjects to be studied without consent. When we say stop, we mean it. And when we are threatened, we respond with overwhelming force to ensure the message is understood. He paused, letting that sink in. However, I recognize this may be a cultural misunderstanding. You have one opportunity to withdraw and report to your superiors that humanity does not tolerate uninvited military-grade scanning. We will defend our ships, our space, and our sovereignty. Are we clear? The silence stretched for nearly a minute before Thexlar responded. His tone utterly changed. Crystal clear, Captain Harding. We are withdrawing. The Velcrin Collective will be informed of your boundaries. As the Twilight Seeker limped away on emergency thrusters, Lewis settled back into his command chair. Orla handed him a damage report. 0 casualties, 0 damage. Sir, do you think they'll actually respect our space now? Lewis's smile was grim. Word will spread, Lieutenant. The galaxy just learned an important lesson. Humans don't bluff, and we don't tolerate being treated like laboratory animals. They scanned us to understand what we were. He gestured at the departing alien vessel. Now they know exactly what we are. In the depths of space, the Retribution maintained its silent vigil, a testament to humanity's simple philosophy: respect us or learn to fear us.